This past Monday, a pod brother of ours, Sean from Shots and Thoughts podcast, lost his niece, and sadly, his sister and her husband lost a beautiful little angel of a daughter. God bless this world with her presence before he called her back to his side. We just want to extend our thoughts and our condolences to the family. We will place a GoFundMe page and more information and ways that we can help for people to help them in our descriptions below in our bios. Chris and Khoa, thoughts are with everybody. Chris, would you like to say anything?
Sean, I just want you to know that we love you. We're thinking about you and your family. You're in our prayers, and we got you no matter what, brother. So,
Khoa?
Just extending my condolences on behalf of us here at the Sports Trapp, and Sean and Roxy. I've known you guys for a long time, and you guys have such a loving, beautiful, big family, and was excited to see another addition to that. It's not dwell on the sadness of it, but let's just celebrate the life that was had, and yeah, all our condolences out to you guys.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate what you bring to the table, guys, and thank you for everything and all your help. And I like I said, the least we can do is try to extend our hand and our thoughts and condolences. All right, guys. All right.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
Welcome. This is the Sports Trapp Podcast. My name is John Trapp. And as always, Christopher C. Rod Rodriguez. How you doing, sir?
man, doing good. Just had a Nike Zoom it. You know how it is.
You gotta zoom it.
And on the ones and twos, always controlling the sound and the video and getting us to make us look big and beautiful. Thank you to Mr. Khoa.
What up?
Talib Kweli.
Ooh,
Hey,
I like
I'll
that
take it.
one. Have you
Shout out to Black Star.
Hey, did y'all hear about the old boy passed away from the Roots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah.
Who?
What's his name, Chris?
Malik. Yeah, he passed
Malik
away.
B.
What?
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, he is one of the originators, one of the original OG members of the Roots. He died at 48 years old, which is kind of sad, man. So I don't know how he died, but
They're
yourself,
they're
man.
they're keeping it under wraps. But
Damn.
Wow.
yeah, shout out to them. Hey man, how you like being back on Zoom?
Actually, I like it a lot better, so I don't have to smell you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to.
There it is.
Bro, I always put some like good cologne on. I always let you smell
Stetson
it.
is not good cologne.
Stetson? Bro, come on. I put that Brute on.
Oh,
what do you mean?
God, the brute.
That's what it is,
Come
Brute.
on, man.
Rooted.
No lie, man. My uncle used to put that on all the time.
Somebody's uncle always does. It's
I'm
always
sure.
horrible.
I'm sure if you were wearing brute, Chris could probably smell it through the Zoom call.
Right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Brute is powerful.
So, in honor of welcoming back Zoom, I wanted to welcome back the NBA. Started tonight, of course. Got a little sports back in our life. So yeah, man, the NBA officially starts tonight as we're recording this episode. And tonight, the big game is the battle for LA Clippers versus the LA Lakers. And it's kind of weird. They're all doing it in a bubble, and they play a home game in LA for the LA Lakers. So it's like the court is wrapped in LA gear, and they have like fans superimposed on screens.
My God.
It actually it doesn't look too bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm ready for the Rockets. Hey, got a new addition to the podcast. You got a little mascot. Who's this, Chris?
Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Lamar,
After Jimmy
AKA
or the
the
gin?
Blade.
Oh, he likes you, man. He kind of looks scared, but you know,
No, it's just his look.
he's a G.
That's his swag.
What's up? What's up, man? It's a cute dog. How'd you come up with the name?
We just kept it with rock and roll with Axel being, from Guns N' Roses to Jimi Hendrix. But then we just started, we do a little hip hop and added Hendrix Lamar to it,
Hey.
AKA shout out Kendrick Lamar.
Speaking of hip hop, man, I wanted to get your real thoughts real quick. So I know you've been a fan of Kanye for a while. So who you voting for? 2020,
man. We going there already?
I'm still hoping Michelle Obama. Those are
Yeah, there it is.
What happened to your boy Kanye, man?
I mean, from a medical standpoint, I mean that's what happens when you're untreated. From when you're untreated bipolar, you go into your manic episodes, and then unfortunately, you get those type of spells. You know what I mean? And it's sad because so many people are so quick to just jump on social media and badmouth them and put them down and whatnot. But that's truly like. That could easily turn into a very dark place. Is when you're super manic like that, you're on a different level energy wise, and then the crash is the hard part, because that's when you can get into really deep depression. So, I just hope that he can get the help that he needs. And it's really, really hard for a lot of people who are bipolar to be treated with medication, especially if you're someone as creative and as an artist like him, because a lot of people, they feel they're most creative when they're at that manic high. So for him, I'm sure the medication feels like it stunts his creativity. So I'm sure that's why he is constantly not looking towards, seeking medication.
Can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
So somebody brought up a good point. I was listening to Charlemagne, and he was saying that a lot of this stuff tends to happen when there's an album that is about to drop. So, Kanye's about
For
to put out an
publicity?
album. Yeah, so he doesn't necessarily know if it's actually real.
Oh no, it's real, and I tell you why it's real, because Kanye West has been his most creative during his most manic episodes. Let me track that back. So I'm pretty sure up until the point that he actually has to make an album, I'm sure he's regulated. I'm sure he's medicated. But then what happens is, I don't know if this is true, but just from his personality and following Kanye West since high school, like when he gets into a creative zone where he wants to make music and he wants to produce an album, I can guarantee he's not taking his medication. He is full, just winging it and just trying to get by. Because the thing is that even when you go back and look at Kanye West in his beginning stages in his life, his antics were never illogical the way they are now. You can just go and look at the way he did that whole presentation about him running for the president. He had the bulletproof vest on, and the way he was talking, the way he was acting. Even, like, we've always known Kanye West has always been the type of person that's never bit his tongue, but there was still somewhat of some logical thinking in the words that he was saying. Maybe he didn't come out across the right way, but when you start saying and rambling and just saying crazy things, from working in a psych hospital, I've seen his behavior full force, especially when, the high speed talking and the rambling. I mean, it's definitely somebody who is maybe Charlemagne wants to say maybe he's using his manic behavior as an angle, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Kanye West is a very self-aware person, so maybe he feels like maybe he's using his bipolar as his advantage to get that, controversy going and rolling for his album. But here's the thing, like, people gotta realize, like, does Kanye West really have to have like super crazy antics for his album to even drop and people to listen to it, engage into it? No, not really. Like, Kanye West is at a point right now that no matter what he puts out, people are going to follow because he's built such a following. So I think we need to look at it as a whole. I think that Kanye West is sick, on top of the fact that he is a very egocentric person. You put all that together and you got a potential catastrophe. I can tell you that much.
100%. I honestly don't think it's a good idea for him to be doing this. To be honest with you, it's in a situation where he has the microphone at his disposal in an uncontrolled environment. And so with that being said, it's not like the studio where he controls everything,
Right.
and then he controls what goes in, what goes out. He controls the audio and, of course, the music. But in a situation where he had a town hall meeting and people could go back and forth, and you've already seen interviews with him, with Zach Lowe, even with Ellen, where he just goes off on tangents, and to be unadulterated in that type of setting, like in the town hall setting, it just kind of, I don't think it's healthy for him, and I don't think that him being able, like you said, to ramble on to where it's like he might run out of things to say, and so to keep that whole persona up, to keep that whole excitement that I think that he chases every time he's out there and being the artist that he is, to try to get that instant gratification, he'll go into these episodes, and unfortunately his family gets to see it, and his family gets to be the brunt of everything that's coming out of his mouth, whether it's him being unhealthy or not. They still have to deal with it. And somebody like the Kardashians, who are such public figures, not to mention himself, it's putting that spotlight squarely on it from the whole public to get that visceral visual of everything in time, as opposed to it being on a show and they get to filter everything they don't want to be on camera, or they can even script it as much as they want. This isn't. I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, like you're saying, it's him going through his manic episode, and it to me it's sad. It's sad in a sense of that's one of my Picassos. I mean, as much as we relate him to other artists out there, he's one of our greatest artists. That he's in the clothing, he's in to music, he's in the shoes. He basically he's become fashion and hip hop for us to this day. And to see
I mean, the thing about it too is that first and foremost, when people say, well, he's using it as a ploy, like, when's the last time Kanye West had a hit? He hasn't had a hit that was mainstream probably in the last 5 or 6 years, like truly mainstream. Like, he's not making any music that's in the top 20 like a Drake. So it's never been about like antics for him to sell albums, because he doesn't sell albums like that, right? So I think it's hard for them to understand, because many people use the word bipolar so much that they don't even understand what bipolar is. It's become one of those words like, oh, he must be bipolar because he's up and down. That's not what bipolar is. But they're getting a taste. Well, I just feel like, in mental health, bipolar is one of the most misdiagnosed diagnoses in all of mental health.
So it's not something that's like high and low?
No, it is high and lows. But I'm saying is that anytime somebody in our lives comes across that they're angry or upset or they're emotional, we always want to associate the word that person must be bipolar. And it's just people don't truly understand what bipolar diagnosis is. So for Kanye, because he's always been an outspoken person, people always want to associate that, well, it's just Kanye being Kanye. But no, it's Kanye that's sick. Because even when he was, taken care of and his mom was properly watching over him, you got Kanye West, but it was illogical antics as opposed to just chaos. Like, he's pure chaos. And again, people don't realize, for a lot of people who are bipolar, they are very creative, and when you stifle that creativity with medication, and for a lot of people, they do become different people when they no longer can be manic, because for a lot of people, that manic is a high. It's a natural high. I'm sure for Kanye, it is very, very, very hard for him to feel like himself when he is medicated and controlled. Right. And also too, with the Kardashians, I always felt like they just bit more off than they can chew, because they've always been the matriarch of that family, has always been able to control everything. You can't control Kanye. You just can't, unfortunately. And now he has a disorder where he definitely can't. You can't control him. You know what I mean? So
you don't think Kim Kardashian has been pretty much a woman that's been by his side and kind of been ride or die for him I think she.
No, I'm not gonna give her all that love because at the end of the day, bad controversy for them has been their greatest weapon of the way they've become mainstream. So even with Kanye West acting like that, they're still counting the checks because now people are all locked in and still talking about the Kardashians. And honestly, but Kanye West made Kim the most relative person, and if anything, he's actually helped her because I mean, just from her being legitimately taken serious as a model to fashion, that was all Kanye. So I don't want to hear any of that stuff. So think about it. Her closest thing, her closest thing to being even a billionaire is because of Kanye, and all that because of Adidas and what he's put together. So nah, she ain't going nowhere. I know that much.
Oh, you don't think they're gonna get divorced?
It's gonna be another Will and Jada. They know they better together making money than apart.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
I'm not a businessman. I don't want to get into that too much.
This is a sports show, not a hip hop show.
Hey man, you brought the hip hop up.
Hey, listen, man, we got the mental health experts. I gotta ask them. So yeah, no, just for everybody, Chris does work in mental health capacity on his side job because this is his first job right here.
I'm a man of many jobs, John, as of late. So
we'll get into other jobs that you do have later on, but getting back to sports, that like I said, I want to run down a little bit the NBA, what's going on today. Again, the NBA starts off today, kicks off, and actually the Rockets start tomorrow. So I want to talk a little bit about the Rockets. And the MLB has had a week where they've started, and you already see the fireworks on and off the field, of course. And what I mean by off the field, the Marlins and the Phillies have been, I got that little avatar up. Yes, Mr. Correa holding on to Joe Kelly as a baby. But with that being said, the Astros and the Dodgers went head-to-head, and what I mean by the fireworks on the field, Joe Kelly went a little head hunting, and the Astros became the Dodgers because we had to dodge the ball a couple times. So we'll get into a little bit of the MLB and how their situation's breaking down. And last but not least, the NFL is steadily been steadfast in saying that they're going to start the season on time. September 10th is the first game of the season. Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. And Chris, you know they're not having a preseason. You know about that, right?
Yeah, I think Coven killed that too.
Say it again.
I think Coven got that preseason sick as well. So yeah.
I really want to know what they're going to break down to. So as we getting back into sports, like I said, NBA starts today. MLB has started about a week. NFL is going to start in September. From what you can tell, Chris, how do you think that the NBA is doing compared to the MLB? And what can the NFL look towards as far as like trying to contain, trying to keep everybody safe? Because like I said, the MLB right now at this point, the Florida Marlins had 20 people test positive in their organization for COVID-19, essentially suspending at least up to right now 7 games. 7 games in a shortened season, of course. So that's a lot. And then who they played before the suspension of these games were the Phillies. And a couple of their people from their organization has been tested positive now for COVID. And now they suspended that series as well, coming up for the Phillies. So, I mean, what can we learn from this compared to the MLB and NFL? NBA and NFL.
Well, man, I think the NFL is in a tough situation because they've had the longest to pretty much put everything together, and they're still struggling where they can have an agreement with both the NFL and the Players Association. So that's all telling right there because out of all the sports, I mean, NFL is the most physical. So I think that they're.
Did you see?
What's
I'm
that?
sorry to interrupt, but did you see where their locker rooms? Locker rooms are there. They have those. You know, when you go to grocery stores, everything has that plexiglass and everybody's
Yeah.
separated, right? The NFL locker rooms are the same thing. So everybody has their personal plexiglass, and you're sitting there. But it's like, what? I'm about to go play on the field where I'm touching at least 10 other guys, right? On damn near every play. But I come back to the locker room and I'm sitting in my locker, and the guy next to me I'm looking through him in plexiglass. How does that make any sense?
Well, I think this is it. I think we said it best, and we said it probably right when sports ended and COVID was a full force, and the shutdown happened. That in real life they probably shouldn't be playing, but they're going to play because there's too much money that's already been lost or that's going to be potentially to lose. So from the players and from the owners. So at the end of the day, it's a risk either way it goes. Like there's nothing you can do. There's no amount of bubbles. There's no amount of mass that's going to keep somebody from not somehow, getting or contracting COVID-19. So at the end of the day, it's just a risk. And if you're a player and you've already seen some of these players already in the NFL have already said they're not going to play because of the COVID, because they're not guaranteed safety, especially when these players are going back to their families. I think it just boils down to it. If you're a player and you feel like it's just not safe, don't play. And the owners and the leagues just need to understand and respect that. And so far, we haven't seen any issues with that. And I guess that's just how it's going to be. I will say this, though, from waiting for us to start the show, looking at the NBA, I love the way it looks. Like, the scrimmage games look like hot garbage. Like, it looked like something I was just not wanting to look at, but I love the way they have it set up because it really does look like, it reminds me of NBA Jam, like the video game. It looks really cool in the background. So far, it looks like the NBA's done it right. They're reporting, how many consecutive days with no one testing positive, but I personally believe that's a lie. I believe that some of these players have tested positive and they're going to keep that under wraps. You know what I mean? I just think right now that they've already invested so much in playing, especially the money they've put in them being in Florida, and everything that goes into keeping the bubble safe costs a lot of money. So I would find it highly skeptical if right now Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James both don't have COVID-19 and they're playing right now. I mean, that's just my conspiracy. I think.
Why do you go for like two of the best guys of the NBA? Why does it have to be them?
Because that's the first game of the season that they played, or the most important game. I mean, come on, we all know that it's going to come down to two teams that's going to win the championship, both the Clippers and the Lakers. So there's no way in hell that LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard are not playing in the finals, even if they have COVID-19. The NBA is going to keep that under wrap. We're probably going to tell all book in like 20 years about how they all had COVID-19. But I think at the end of the day, I guess you can get away with it as long as no one's sick and dies. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the scary part about all this.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Do we have to wait to that? And that's the scary part of it. And in all of this, right? And all of what we're going through, restarting the season, shutting it down, trying to be safe as possible, social distancing and everything. Right now, we're good in a sense of nobody has really, really been that martyr, right? And I hate to use that term, but you don't want it to get to that point. So I understand the money's on the line, but the day that somebody does pass away, say they do, God forbid that does happen, like, are we shutting down all sports? Because
probably not.
At some point, we have to say, damn, out of 20 people, and we're shutting down series, we're suspending series. At what point are we risking more than just our health, and we're risking players' lives? Like, how do you feel about the players opting out? You got Marquise Goodwin. You have Damian Williams. You have, I want to say Patrick Chung was another one. and another offensive lineman. I can't remember his name at the moment, but they've all opted out, because of family issues. Even Trevor Ariza opted out from the NBA because of wanting to spend time, because once you get in that bubble, you can't necessarily leave. And so when these players opt out, is it being smart, or is it being proactive, or is it being irresponsible if you do keep on going and full force ahead and I guess have this pseudo protection?
Well, I guess that's the best part about living in this country, is that you're not forced to do anything you don't want to. Now, if you go to work, or you decide to show up to wherever you're going, and you possibly have it, you can get other people sick, or yourself you can get sick, and you just have to live with the consequences. I guess it boils down to this, like, what's best for you and what's best for your family. And I think that if the players decide to sit down, and because they feel that's what's best for their families, I give them kudos, because they have potential to lose a lot of money, and also too, I think it's telling, that they want to do what's best for themselves and their family, and that's more important than the idea of just like winning or more money. And I think it just boils down to, I think it's just a reflection of where the country is. You have people that want to go back to work, and there's people that are not ready to go back to work because they feel it's unsafe. At the end of the day, it's a risk either way it goes. And so, I feel like we should just support like anybody and everybody, however you want to feel. Like, you want to go to work, we support you. If you don't want to go to work, we support you. At the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you,
So you watched some of the Laker and the Clipper game, you saw the setup and stuff. The Houston Rockets, what I saw of their setup, they were trying to test out different setups, and they had like the Red Rowdies out there, and they had Houston Rockets, and I even got a memo saying that you can sign up as a virtual fan, and the way it looks up on the wall, it's the closest thing that you can get to a fan experience when you're watching it on the TV. So
really,
in baseball, it's tough. It's a tough watch. There's no fans
Is it free?
there, and if they are, they're cutouts. And it's kind of weird, eerie looking, because it's almost like we're so ingrained to watching the public, or the crowd being almost like a 12th man, and being a part of the action, in a sense of that emotion that comes out when a big play happens. In baseball, you'll hit a home run, it's like, oh, okay, it goes, just hit it out to center field, and that's just the announcer.
And the crowd goes wild.
And there's none of that. But in basketball, I don't know if they're piping it in, or how much audio they have from the fans that they're watching it virtually.
Yeah.
But you get a little bit of that vibe of the fans in the arena. Like it's almost like it can fake you out a little bit. And I think they're pumping it in, to be honest with you.
Oh,
but like,
yeah.
I'm sure
when there's a dunk or something, they'll have a piped in reaction.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
gives
hey,
a little,
I listen. Baseball. I'm a baseball fan, but from a sports perspective, baseball is the most boring thing ever. And so, regardless if there's
tell them
fans
how
or
you really
not,
feel, Chris.
No, I'm just saying, baseball is the most longest, most boring, drawn-out sport, and you have to be a fan of it to appreciate it. So I don't think baseball is losing or gaining any fans, which is the usual take on baseball every year. But I will say this, though. One of the most exciting things about a baseball game is when there's ever the potential to have a fight. And even the fight that happened between the Dodgers and the Astros was boring as hell. I mean, there was like,
let's get into that a little bit. So Joe Kelly, pitcher of the Dodgers, actually having not too bad of a game, right? I think they scored 2 runs at the time. That whole series, our best hitters, Altuve, Bregman, Correa, 0 for 21. The whole series, right? So Joe Kelly was part of
that's
that.
what happens when you don't have no cameras.
Right? Or trash cans. So, anyways, Joe Kelly, I think it was the 5th inning, if I'm not mistaken.
Sixth.
6th inning. Thank you, Khoa. So he pitches to Bregman. Heater. I think he thought it was the right time to do this, but he threw a 90 mile an hour plus mile an hour pitch straight for his head, straight for Bregman's head. I think it glanced off his shoulder, right? Bregman crouched down a little bit, goes to first. Yuri Gurriel comes up the bat. Why is it three pitches run away from Joe Kelly? All right, fine. I think Gurriel gets walked, or I can't remember exactly what happened. I just noticed that Joe Kelly was headhunting at this point, and I don't know why he chose this point at this point to do it. But either way, Correa comes up, gets brushed back. Finally, Correa strikes out. Correa's he's not happy, right? Dusty Baker's not happy. That's another thing. This whole no fan scene, you get to listen to what some of these coaches are saying. Oh, he let loose on Joe Kelly, and the little kids in the back of the living room at this point could hear what he had to say live on TV. So, anyways, Joe Kelly and Correa get into it. Correa says something, but all I heard was Joe Kelly. He makes that face like, oh, no, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they publicly said this out loud, but reading the words, he kept calling Correa a cheater. You know, his lips, reading his lips, I kind of saw that he kept calling Correa a cheater. Now, in response, how you feel about this, Chris? They suspended Joe Kelly for 8 games. In a short season, they suspended Joe Kelly for 8 games.
Good. Because, okay, first and foremost, I want to put this out there. Joe Kelly was not on the 2017 Dodgers, so his crying and complaining or wanting to come after the Astros.
Isn't that kind of weird?
Extremely weird.
You're trying to play hero. Trying to be big man on campus.
Hey, anyways, second of all, here's the thing. This is why baseball doesn't have the gain of fans it should have on a regular basis. Because you have the Yankees who are trying to keep their cheating out from coming out of the courts, and no one's talking about that really.
Right.
Even with the Boston Celtics come out and their report came out, nobody was really talking about that. Boston Red Sox. And the whole focus has been the Astros, and we can all agree that the Astros, yes, they should have never cheated. I'm 100% on that. But the fact that they're the only ones that continues to be scrutinized is just ridiculous when you have so many other teams, especially the big teams, that caught cheating. But here's my issue with all this, is that it's okay to be so angry or be angry about the Astros cheating, but then at the same time, from a moral standpoint, baseball fans and their unwritten rules are okay with other players throwing balls that could potentially hurt another player and kill them. So, cheating is bad, but throwing a ball purposely at 100 miles per hour to hit someone in the face, that's even worse. So, I saw that everybody was so upset that Joe Kelly got suspended.
Oh, he didn't really hit anybody,
yeah, that's
though.
The thing. Like, what's your intent? And honestly,
shut the fuck up.
That I honestly think that's assault. Like, you're taking.
Oh, it absolutely is assault. That's like me swinging the bat at you, John, and be like, "But I didn't hit you." But I could have hit you, though. You see what I'm saying?
That's another thing too with Joe Kelly. It wasn't like low pitches. It wasn't to their torso. It would look like he was going for their heads. That's a different animal in itself to me. You know, like that shows intent of not just trying to plunk you and teach you a lesson. That really shows me that you're trying to hurt that person. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm
it's ridiculous because you go online and you see how many people are so upset that Joe Kelly got suspended. It's but you got to understand that, yes, he didn't hit anybody, but what if he would have hit a player and hurt them and ruined their career? So then what happens then? And this is why baseball is probably one of the worst sports in the history of the world, is because cheating bad, throwing balls at players good. It doesn't make any sense. And until baseball can get off its high horse and be accountable from across the board, baseball will always be looked upon as the least favorite sport in America. I mean, at this point, NASCAR is probably ahead of baseball. And, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. And the sad thing about it is people who love baseball, like myself and you, John, will continue to watch this shit show. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And here's another thing, too. Like, at the end of the day, it's wrong, but Astros have to be ready. And they have to understand that, honestly, they're getting a break. Because if this was a regular year where there was no COVID-19... this would have been the most horrible. Right now, it would truly be a shit show. And I honestly, just from watching the Astros respond to this, I don't know if they're emotionally ready. Because
really, I thought they handled it really well.
Because at the end of the day, like, don't get mad. Like, put your head down and just deal with it. Like, at the end of the day,
really.
Like, this is what I want to say is because every time the Astros are gonna give a reaction, it's gonna, like, the way this happened. It's going to be painted across national media as the Astros trying to make it seem like they're the victim when they're the cheaters. And that's been the national already. And so right now, like, the Astros have to understand that they pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people feel like, their money was changed, that their potential of winning World Series was changed. Like, there's going to be way more teams that are going to be headhunting them throughout the rest of the season. The good thing about this is only 60 games, so at least it won't be 182 games of this shit. But it's gonna be this way the whole year. I think the Astros got a break because there's no fans, and so I just right now
to be honest with you, I disagree. I think that one, they've handled it pretty well. Dusty Baker came out and said that, listen, we're not gonna be the instigators, but we're not gonna take shit either. And I get that, and I agree with that. But at the same time, bro, like, if it becomes a thing, I gotta hit somebody in the mouth. Like I'm not necessarily talking about hitting somebody with the ball or anything like that. But if they try to come for my head, I might charge them out or two. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, listen, if they get hit with the ball, that's a different story. Like, like you get hit. I have no problem with anybody in the baseball. I don't care what team you're playing, charging them out, especially if it's the intent was purpose. What I'm saying is that, like if Joe Kelly is talking mess to you and calling you a cheater, like, you don't need to go and walk up to him and confront him, man. Just go back to the bench. Like, dude, listen, Carlos Carrera, you are a cheater. It is what it is, man. Just let it go, man. Because at the end of the day, like, even when the other teams are wrong at throwing out the Astros, it's still going to perceive as the Astros deserved it and they're wrong for whatever reaction they give back. So, like, here's my thing. If you're going to be the bad guy, go in all in as a bad guy, or don't do anything at all. You can't go back and forth on this whole self-righteous tip. Like, you just can't. Astros did wrong.
Can I ask you, do you think the eight game suspension for Joe Kelly was more of a warning for other people as opposed to really being a suspension for what he did, like in retaliation? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Because you got to think about it like this. They know that there's a lot of players in the Major League Baseball right now. They know they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're still pissed off at the Astros for this. These.
Obviously, Joe Kelly wasn't even on the team.
So at the end of the day, there's gonna be players out there like, well, shit. I mean, we ain't gonna make the playoffs anyway. I might as well get 8-day vacation.
I do think that, though, that the other Dodger player was like, bro, you got to go for him. Like, you got to let him know. Listen, I've played baseball. I know what it's like. I know what the locker room is like. I know what being in the dugout is like. You're basically your tribe, and you got to protect them. You got to not protect them, but show them, what's up.
Oh, they've probably been in there, chopped it up, and planned out how he's going to do it and when. He's like, ooh, what kind of heater should I throw? What inning?
Exactly.
Like you said, like, you've been a part of it, so you know the culture of it. And so just imagine yourself on that level, on the pro level, when you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the league and whatnot, and then you see the scandal. And so now all these teams, especially with like Yankees and Dodgers, feeling like we took something away from them that was theirs.
I do think that we're going to get the most shit from Yankees, Dodgers, and Red Sox.
Oh, I don't
Maybe
want
not
to
the
hear
Red
nothing
Sox so
from
much.
Yankees. I don't want to hear nothing from Yankees, man. That's the thing that and I think this just goes back to what I was saying, man. Baseball is the most self-righteous sport with the dumbest rules. It's a sport that was the originators of segregation, of racism, of elitist sport. Even today, in urban areas, baseball is not found because it's so expensive. They made it to where it's so expensive to where kids in the inner city can't even play baseball. So baseball in itself has always made itself clear where it stands in a lot of different areas. And even when it has the moral capability of doing the right thing, they can't. Because if they really cared about cheating across the board, then they would have made sure that the Yankees and the Red Sox in 2017 didn't get warnings, that they would have treated them the way they treated the Astros in 2019.
100%. No,
And
yeah, for sure.
so they're just it's just you talking about fake news. That's, to me, that's what baseball is, just fake news.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like your people are fighting in the background.
Yeah, man. No, that's a Yankees fan in the background, man. They crying. You know how it is.
Axel is charging the mound.
Damn right he is. He got hit with the ball.
Hey, Chris, I wanted to bounce some stuff off from you, man. Real quick. To be honest with you, I wanted to get into a little bit of the NFL because we've been talking baseball and basketball so much. But real quick, who you got in the before we get into NFL in the NBA? Who's winning? Who's taking it all?
Man, it's the Houston Rockets. I bleep myself out because I'm trying not to curse so much. Yeah, it's Houston Rockets all day, every day.
Tell him.
Hey, you got to put some money in that swear jar, man.
Hey, man, listen, the Rockets, if there's ever been a chance for the Rockets to have the best way to win a championship, I think it's right now. James Harden looks good. Russell Westbrook looks good.
Amazing.
Everybody looks good. The only thing that I am worried about, being a small person, and I've always been, I'm honestly one of the OGs and originators of small ball because I've been playing it my whole life. But I will say that they do look a little small, and I worry about that. Come down, like if they get into like a 7-game series against the Clippers or the Lakers, they're so much bigger, and Rockets have to make sure they hit all their shots, and that's what I worry about. Every time I think about the Rockets hitting their shots, I think about what happened in 2017, and that just makes my stomach hurt. So
I think the break probably helped the Rockets out more than anybody because
I agree.
I think that one, James Harden does so much, period, and it kind of if there's any knock or any rhyme to the reason for James Harden to kind of tail off in the playoffs and go through where we go through stretches of missing 23 shots in a row, it's because of our fatigue has set in. So our break has helped out, right? But James Harden looks in phenomenal shape, right? And not only that, he's always been a strong dude. What I liked, what I've seen, at least in the scrimmages, we won't get to see it until tomorrow, at this time of recording, but at least through the scrimmages, he's kept the strength, but quicker. He's more elusive. So when it comes down to getting into the lane, it looks like he can dip his shoulder a little bit more and get past somebody a little bit quicker. So I've seen more layups. I've seen more three-pointers. I've seen more actually, there's a great I don't know if it's a meme, but there's a great picture on IG that the Rockets put out. And through the 3 games of scrimmages that we've had, mind you, it took the Rockets a couple, about 3 or 4 quarters to get back to their timing. But once they got their timing back, they've been off to the races. But that picture, what I'm talking about on IG, it shows him most field goals made, most three-pointers, most points, and it's like it looks something like 2K. Like, even if you made your own creative player, you still couldn't replicate what James Harden has done.
It looks Photoshop, to be honest.
So
it's like you just copy and pasted all that first.
Right, exactly. It looked like a cheat code that you had entered in. But again, James Harden looks good. I like the way that Russell Wilson looks. Russell Wilson is looking to distribute, and James Harden is looking to catch and shoot. Have you noticed that? And James Harden has had more catch and shoots in these past 3 scrimmages than he's had all year. So
well,
I like
he
it.
looks like he feels good too, and I think he's healed too. His body healed from the knee. But man, again, here we get into the NBA. We know that the NBA, you can already hear the narrative. You can just watch it right now. You can look it on social media to ESPN. Obviously, they're really trying to push the narrative that the Greek Freak is the MVP this year. The LeBron James or the Clippers are going to be the last 2 teams to fight for the championship. And then, of course, the breakout, the player that everybody needs to watch is the fake white James Harden. So I can't wait for tomorrow.
Say his name, Chris. Say his name.
I will never say his name. Fake white James Harden. I will never say his name.
Wow.
Listen, right now, there's people, and I won't say who, but they're just hoping that he is like the Eminem of the NBA. It ain't gonna happen, man. Because let me tell you something. I'll call a spade a spade. If you're gonna come down on my boy James Harden, you need to come down on that boy too, because he does the exact same thing in the game that James does. But I can't wait for tomorrow, especially since we're playing him, and I can't wait for the Rockets to put a bullet in the Mavericks once again. I don't know if you remember a couple years back when they played them in the playoffs and the series was over, and they posted the picture of the gun shooting the horse for the Mavericks. Social media got that person got in trouble. So yeah.
For ladies and gentlemen out there, he's talking about Luka Doncic. He basically has copied and superimposed his face onto James Harden's skill set, and everybody's kind of jumping on this bandwagon. And it's funny because, for everything that criticized James Harden about, he's doing the exact same thing, but he's getting praise. So it is kind of weird, but like Chris was saying, that they get to play tomorrow and they get to see it live and in person. So or not in person. Shout out coronavirus. Anyways,
hey John, you know what's cool though? I will say I think the coolest thing is the fact that it's the media that's pushing Luka, but the players themselves have been coming to the defense of James Harden from all different walks. Even J.J. Redick the other day came to the defense of James Harden, who he did that one move, which was really smart how he moved his pivot foot, and everybody was going on how he travels. Even J.J. Redick came back and was like, James Harden didn't travel. Like, he took 2 steps based off the rules.
I mean, they said that same. Shout out the Dream Shake, man. They try to do it. I don't know what it is about Houston, but we don't get that respect. But
no, they don't ever want us to win. They don't want us to have the biggest pool.
Real quick. Dark horse. No, you can't talk. You can't say Lakers, Clippers, Rockets. You cannot say the Bucks or Sixers. Who is your dark horse to win it all if they were to do that?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. Boston Celtics. That team is nasty. Boston Celtics is nasty. Like, coming out the East, listen, Tatum and Jalen, and then you add in Kimba. That team is a really nice squad. They were hitting all cylinders before the coronavirus and whatnot. So I like the Boston Celtics out of the East as a surprise. Maybe Toronto. Everyone's just automatically giving it to the Milwaukee Bucks.
I like the Toronto pick.
So I just think that, Tatum to me is one of my favorite players that's not on the Rockets. I really like his game, and then Jalen as well. But then, from the West, man, honestly, dude, I think I'm cheering for anybody that's not the Clippers, Lakers. Of course, I'm rooting for the Rockets. So anybody that fits in that category, okay, not the Dallas Mavericks either, but... I don't know, man. I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan, but I hate the Utah Jazz, so I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
say, you ain't
cheer
cheering
for
for no
that.
damn Utah Jazz.
Okay, maybe the Portland Trailblazers, because I'm a Damian Lillard fan.
I'm with you on that. I'm kind of rooting for Dame and Carmelo, but if I had to choose a dark horse,
never root for Dame after what he did to us.
So yeah, no, I think that the dark horse for me is gonna be Denver. Man, they have a lineup, a starting
Denver's
lineup
nasty.
that could be all 7 foot,
Yeah,
7 footers.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobo for Rookie of the Year, baby.
Dude, Denver is the most talented team to have no superstars. That's South. Denver is so deep. They're so deep, but
When
they
is
have
the
no
last time Denver
superstars.
has a superstar? Dikembe?
Allen Iverson,
Oh, come on, no. I'm talking
Carmelo
about
Anthony?
Homegrown.
Huh?
Oh, well, Dikembe wasn't homegrown, right?
no, but Carmelo was.
Ooh, there you go. Okay. Look at you with your knowledge. All right, so let's move on to the NFL. So your boy, Deshaun Watson, started coming into the top 100, NFL top 100, what they do every year to rank the players. This is a poll of the media and the players and the organizational people that make up the NFL and everybody from their teams. So when they do this every year, they do a top 100, and your boy Deshaun Watson came in at number 20. Chris, he was the 7th ranked quarterback behind, let me tell you, Lamar Jackson, behind Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. Chris, tell me, man, you have been championing Deshaun Watson from the beginning of the season. You and me went back and forth. And you were saying that Deshaun Watson was the greatest quarterback in the league right now. Tell me
Still
why they
is.
ranked him 20th.
Well, listen. Let me get my boohoo. Everybody get their napkin, or their paper towels, or napkins, or tissue paper, so we can get on our boohoo Houston. But it's just the way it is. It's the way Houston is treated. At the end of the day, if Deshaun Watson was on any other team other than the Houston Texans, he would have been ranked in the top 10. Period. But because he plays for the Texans, because Bill O'Brien, especially after this whole Hopkins trade, has been looked upon as a buffoon, the team's results and how people view the Texans is a reflection of how they're reviewing Deshaun Watson. Think about it. Most people are not watching they're not watching the Texans for Deshaun Watson, right? So, whereas even you look at this past year, the media hype was completely around Lamar Jackson and Mahomes. So all the media was around them. The hype was around them when Deshaun Watson was doing the exact same thing that they were doing, was prevailing their teams to a winning record. And he should have been in the same conversation for MVP, and he wasn't. And I said he's never going to get his respect as long as he plays for the Texans as an MVP candidate. And
What?
No, they're just not, because of the NFL. I mean, listen, man, it was already predetermined before the league even started. It was going to be Mahomes or Brady. It's the same thing every year. And I just think that it's sad that Deshaun Watson is not getting the amount of respect that he truly deserves. That kid is a phenomenal player, and the Houston Texans are blessed to have such a quarterback. And the NFL itself are blessed to have such a quarterback. And I'm looking at this list. They have Lamar Jackson at number 1. I don't know if anybody saw the playoffs. I saw the playoffs against Tennessee. Lamar Jackson was definitely not the number 1 player. And I almost feel that if the Texans would have played the Tennessee Titans, they would have won because of Deshaun. Because of Deshaun Watson. So, relatively speaking, Lamar Jackson is kind of one-dimensional, whereas Deshaun Watson is not. Him and Mahomes, to me, have the potential to be the best 1-2 quarterbacks in the NFL in the next 10 years because their ability to be so. I guess they have such a diversity to their abilities.
Here, I'll say this. Lamar Jackson had a season that we've never seen. I'll give him the number 1. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Yes or no? Just say yes or no.
Oh, yes. Yes. Russell, he's been doing it more because Russell's been the most consistent quarterback for the last 5-6 years. Every year he's an MVP candidate because of what he does. And think about it. Compared to when they went to the Super Bowl now, they have less weapons, but they're still always there. And and I know that there's always the potential that they're going to win the game just because of Russell Wilson. He makes magic on the field, man. He's such a ninja, and he's just razor sharp. He's a bad boy.
Aaron Donald, yes or no? Number 3.
As far as the best defensive player, I think so. I think that's fair because you know how I feel. Defensive players never get their respect.
Okay. Completely disagree. But number 4, coming in at number 4, your Super Bowl champion, my Super Bowl champion, my pick for the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes, lands at number 4. Yes or no, Chris?
He should be number 1.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, he
Finally.
won a Super Bowl. I still think that both Lamar. Here's the thing. I still think that both Lamar Jackson and Mahomes are, to me, they give me that Stephen Curry feel where they're just in great systems that accentuate their skill set. But you put them on any other team, I don't think you get the same result. But truth will tell. At the end of the day, we'll see the truth when it all comes down to the end. The person who, but if you're going to say who had the best season and who won, it should definitely be Mahomes. I would put Mahomes first. Then I would definitely come back with Lamar Jackson. And then I guess you could say, I don't know, Aaron Donald from that standpoint. But there's no way in hell Mahomes is 4th. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Okay, so if you were to give me an honest opinion, an honest way to really rate these players, right? And where real things are on the line. When I say real, when money is on the line, who's getting the most money, right? Lamar Jackson's contract is going to come up. We'll see. But I guarantee you, he's not making $503 million for the next 10 years. So you know what that means? Lamar Jackson isn't as good as Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying that Deshaun Watson is. But at the end of the day, we'll see where dollars make sense. We'll see when people are willing to give somebody a talent as much money as they did with Patrick Mahomes. We'll really get to see where they really rank. Because Aaron Donald, as much as I think that he's a great player and everything, he's not making that type of money. Lamar Jackson won't make $503 million. I don't think Deshaun Watson will make $500. I guarantee you.
And at the end of the
Jackson,
day, when it's all said and done, Mahomes ain't making $503 million either.
What you mean?
How much of that's guaranteed, John?
63.
63. So again, he's not getting paid $503 million. It's a good old NFL. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it to me is just hogwash. But at the end of the day.
Oh wait. You're saying that the NFL won't honor the contract?
Of course not. We know that that's not going to happen. And think about it.
The NFL
Mahomes
has signed 3 10-year contracts. Not one had they honored. They cut him before it happens.
Listen, based off of Mahomes' skill set and based off his who he is, and you know next year is going to be that much harder for him to do a lot of things he was doing. The longevity of Mahomes doesn't even remotely. I can't even see him being that dominant for 10 years, especially under that. Listen, if we can get 5-6 good years out of Mahomes, I think you can see it. But I just look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had that same effect. And look how much it's hard for him to get to the show again. It's so hard in the NFL. So, what is true? You think that Mahomes is going to really get that $503 million, or is Andy Reid going to get fired first? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just the way the NFL works. It just, it's crazy. I think it's just inflation numbers and make it sound pretty and good. At the end of the day, he's lucky if he gets $63 million. There you go.
Well, yeah, 100%. But he is, side note, the youngest pro sports owner of all time.
The Royals?
He bought into the Royals with that, at least that $63 million guaranteed that he's got coming his way. Now, Chris, I wanted to get into a new segment that I want to try to roll out. It's called Something, Nothing, or Everything, right?
Ooh.
And this is, I'm going to hit you hard with this first one, man.
Sounds sexy.
So there's video, right, of your boy Tua, Alabama alumni, QB, getting out of his car and walking to the Dolphins facility. Boy's walking with a heavy limp. Now, is that something? Is that nothing? Or is that everything that says about what or where Tua is at this moment with his leg?
I'm definitely not gonna say it's everything, and I'm definitely not gonna say it's what did you say, something?
Nothing.
I'm not gonna say it's nothing. I am gonna say it's something. But here's the thing: we don't know if he was sitting in his car for a long time talking on the phone to a young girl and his foot fell asleep. We don't know if that. We don't know. We don't. What I'm saying is we're so quick to jump the gun. We don't have the whole truth. So at the end of the day, he could have had listen. Everybody knows when you go in there and do leg day, sometimes it gets you the next day. He could have had just a really good leg day, and the next day he just felt that soreness, man.
I'm gonna let you pass because you're showing your Alabama colors right now.
No, it is
All
something.
right.
It'd be
Could
something,
have just
man.
been putting on a show. He knew the cameras were watching. He just let me just
Right.
let me just pretend like.
I'm gonna say it's definitely something. What do you think, Khoa?
Same something. This is you can't say it's nothing, but that's not everything either.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens if we have this NFL season.
Hey John, I was talking to you the other day and my foot fell asleep and I could barely walk. So I know, man. You just all on the phone. Stuff happens, man.
Damn, I'm surprised you don't got no crimson red right now. So the MLB doesn't want to have long games, right?
Right.
So what they're starting to do is they're starting the inning off with the player on second base. Now, is that something? Is that nothing? Or is that everything to say about what the NBA and MLB is trying to do this year?
Everything. That should have happened. Like they should have.
Really?
Yeah, man. Because the game speed of baseball is so bad that to me it makes sense. Because we've seen it where it goes 17, 18 innings, and it's just horrible. You know what I mean? So I kind of like that. It kind of gives that whole like, overtime feel when you, in the NFL, it's like, you get that, before it was who was the first person to score was over. Now it's like, okay, everybody gets a person on the second base, so we got to bat them in. So I kind of like it. It makes it a little bit more exciting, like their fans.
So what do you think? Is this something, nothing, or everything? Khoa?
I mean, I agree with Chris. It's everything, but I don't know if I am on the same side of the coin of how I feel about it, though. If I like that, like of course on the pure side, it's just like just play the game. Like why do you need? I see how it can make it more exciting and make the game
Quicker?
go on a little quicker.
Right.
I'd have to see it in practice to see how it'd be. It just sounds so weird.
I personally think it's something. I don't think it's everything because I think they're on to something. I just don't think that it's right to put them on second base. First of all you got to do is get a base
single
hit, and he's in.
Yeah.
Right? That makes it too easy. Or I can bunt 2 times in a row, and he's in. Or even at least put him in.
But I mean, that's the point, right? They want to make it basically where
That's
it's like
too quick.
sudden death.
It is too quick.
Yeah.
That is too quick. As
opposed to
like
really
with
long?
NFL for like with
As opposed
NFL,
to
for
20
example,
innings long, John. I'll take that.
I don't want 20
because-
innings long, but I think that they could put him on first base. But what were you saying, Khoa?
Well, I'm just saying, like with NFL, I still think they're. I don't know, like with the overtime system that they have now. I just wish it was a little more rebuttal that was able to. I know that they kind of worked it out to where it's like, all right, so if you get a field goal on first possession, they get to rebuttal, and then if they get touchdown, it's over. And then let's say if they get a touchdown first, I think that's my biggest one. If you score touchdown first, I still feel like the opposing team should be able to have
I will
possessions.
Say that. I will
and
say
that's
that.
like to me, I forget.
That's even.
Like I just think that like I mean let them both have it, but when you get one, and that's to me already close to kind of like the sudden death where it's like, man, you score, you're good. But I guess that's the whole point. It's the incentive of like, well, you better be on your shit. You better put a perfect drive in, get 4 downs and into the end zone. So it's the same thing. You put a man on second, then, and so that goes to the question is like, okay, well, where in the lineup are they gonna start it or whatever? So is it just happens to where it's left off? And what if it's the top of the lineup or their perfect spot or whatever? I mean, they got the perfect man to come up and hit. I don't know. It's just I see how it can make it interesting, but
realistically, I get where everyone always kind of like says that in the NFL, like if you score a touchdown, the other team should be able to score a touchdown. But here's the thing: if both teams score touchdowns, we're right back to overtime again. And the problem with that is that you just have that much more risk of players getting hurt. And I'm telling you right now, if we're going to our third overtime and because we keep scoring touchdowns on each other, and then somehow Deshaun Watson gets hurt, people are gonna be more upset about that, especially if we're losing for the rest of the season. So I've always understood that whole component. And this is why defense is so important for our people who don't like to play defense. You make stops. That's how you win games. And with baseball, same thing here. You got to make sure that you're prepared and ready and your pitchers can make those important stops. And like the Astros, when you don't have trash cans and you can't cheat, you got to be able to hit the ball and score.
Hey, listen. I think this is a conversation that we're going to have for the rest of the year because as the more games get intense, if they don't shut MLB down completely and suspend all the games, it's going to be an exciting thing. But I think somebody will eventually feel like they got screwed in some way, form, or fashion. Just with as a microcosm, yesterday we had one bad call, and it basically our game was done, and we got a little mini sweep, if you want to call it, Dodgers over the Astros. So, we'll see. All right, so Chris, when it came to COVID, one of the most highly respected people in all of MMA, all of the UFC, was not actually a fighter, but the father of Khabib Nurmagomedov. And about a month ago, his father passed away. Dana White said that he was going to give Khabib all the time he wanted, right? Khabib just came out and said he wanted to fight in October versus Justin Gaethje. Now, as somebody that is willing to put his professional career out there like that in such a tough time, do you think that's something, nothing, or everything that says about Khabib Nurmagomedov?
I think everything. I mean, obviously, regardless of how you feel about that person, his relationship with his father has been day one. You know what I mean? And their unique bond, I can only imagine that his father would want him to go on and continue to fight and continue to represent the family and the legacy. And based off of the traditions that they have already, I can only imagine for him, he wants to fight in honor of his father. And to me, that's everything. I mean, family is everything. And going out there and representing your legacy. As I've gotten older as a man, I realize how important my legacy is. So I can only imagine how he wants to continue the legacy of his father and everything he's taught him from day one, even though I don't agree with fighting baby bears. But the point being is that I think that's everything. And I think that, and I also want to shout out to, because Conor McGregor said some nice things about his father as well, considering everything that happened. And to me, that says a lot about Conor McGregor. He didn't have to.
Yeah. He's an ultimate showman. I will say that it takes a lot of, I don't want to say courage because they do this all day, every day. But, I mean, to do what he does and in light of everything that's been going on in his personal life, it does show a little courage to me, and it shows a little bit of him. So I do think it's everything. He is... and always said that he doesn't plan to fight too much longer. And from what I'm hearing is he wants to get to 29 wins, no losses, and eventually fight his hero, which is I can't. I'm blanking right now with the guy from Canada.
GSP.
Pierre?
GSP, George St. Pierre. I'm so sorry. But yeah, he wants to fight George St. Pierre for his 30-0 and call it a day.
He's not gonna. First of all, he's not gonna. George ain't gonna fight him. Second of all,
I don't think so either.
Second of all, listen. We just saw what recently happened. What's the baddest effer who got his butt whooped by
Chris,
Usman?
Your video's out.
Hold on, let me. Can y'all see
There
me
you
now?
go.
Hey, Usman. recently took it to the baddest MFer alive.
Look
Eat him
at
down.
you.
So I've been foaming from the mouth to say this because I really felt like that he wasn't as good as he presented himself to be. I don't really but like him. But here's the thing, man.
Jorge
Like,
Masvidal?
yeah, he got his butt whooped. I don't even care if it was a 6-7 day notice. If he didn't want to fight, he shouldn't have taken that fight. It is what it is. But Usman's a bad boy.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm thinking Usman and our boy are gonna have to fight.
Who's this? Who? Khabib?
Yeah.
Nah, will never happen.
Why not?
So Khabib is 155, Usman is 170, and they're both teammates. So it would
Man,
never.
see this is where I have a problem with because if Conor is willing to go up a certain amount of weight and Usman is willing to go down a certain weight to fight Conor McGregor, but Khabib is not, you can't just go out and now, like, here's the problem that we get into to fighting, and it happens in boxing when now you're trying to pick and choose your fight. You're supposed to be the baddest, then fight the baddest. So now you're trying to pick and choose who you want to fight, so that way you can have a perfect record. Man, I don't feel that at all, man. Hell no.
Hey, man, that's your boy. Hey, listen, dude, you can't do that. You can't be a fan of Mayweather. What is his MO to pick and choose who he fights?
He fought all the baddest people.
Yeah, at the wrong time.
That's
on
not his
purpose.
fault. That's not his fault. And
What you mean?
Listen, we all know the whole Pacquiao thing.
Yeah, because
Pacquiao,
Pacquiao was blood doping. Whatever. Go ahead.
but at the end of the day, Pacquiao his camp was having just as many issues, and then trying to manipulate the situation that favored them. They both are to blame for not fighting each other earlier. But the point being is, we still got to fight. And guess what? Even if it was 5 years earlier or 5 years later, Mayweather would still beat Pacquiao. It is
Yeah,
what
you're
it is.
talking about Alvarez when 5 years earlier, before he became something.
Oh,
He
see,
was
the point, like, how? Come on now, man. Like, listen.
And then he fights somebody as his last fight to get 50-0. He fights somebody that's never had a boxing fight in his career.
Who you talking
With
about? Conor McGregor?
Yeah.
But Conor McGregor was still the baddest at his position, though. You see what I'm saying? Listen, there's a couple of times that Conor got him a couple of good punches in there. I'm just saying, Conor wasn't like he went in there looking like he couldn't handle himself.
Hey, man, you might be right.
I'm not
All
right.
Chris, we'll end the show with that, but I wanted to give you a shout out, man. Give you a chance.
I wanted to add one more thing.
What's up, man?
To the something, nothing, or everything. We talked about Deshaun already with the top 100, but I wanted to throw in his Madden player rating
Oh my God.
of
What happened?
86.
86.
He's at 86
86.
total.
86.
I had
Lamar
to
Jackson
scroll
got a 99.
through 7 pages on Madden's website to get to Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
86.
Dude, I was ready to play with Deshaun Watson too, man.
No, be able to play with Lamar Jackson like I do because he's 99.
Whoa.
In 2019, man, or 2020, man, he's like 96, right? But way better than playing with Deshaun Jackson. And I think he's like an 89 in 2020. So I don't know how he dropped so much. It's ridiculous.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Lamar's
See,
at 94.
I blame Bill O'Brien
Pat
trading
Mahomes
Hopkins.
is
They
at
don't like him,
99.
man.
To me, that I'm gonna go ahead and say that says nothing. You know why? Because one, we know that's a joke, and honestly, I think that him being 20 is a joke in the NFL top 100. But honestly, Madden has lost so much traction, and as far as you and me, Chris, will play. But do you remember the nights we would stay up playing all night? We don't do that no more. It's
Because we got families now, John. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But still, I don't
grown-ups
think
now,
Madden
John.
has evolved as much as they need to had they have had good competition. I thought that when 2K came out, Madden was at its best. You know, because they had that competition. Because every year 2K was going to come hard for them, and they had somebody to push them, just like the WWE. Oh, shout out wrestling, but
I'm gonna tell you what
I don't take anything into his Madden rating, and that just makes me sad because I can't play with Deshaun Watson and whoop Chris's ass.
You weren't gonna beat me
can?
anyways. Hey, I'm gonna say something to me, and I'm pretty sure to Deshaun Watson, it is everything because the greatest players of all time have always been the ones who are doubted the most. When you look at it today, as you're Deshaun Watson, you know your skill set. You know you're just as good as Lamar Jackson and Mahomes, but nobody else sees it. You've won a national championship. Neither one of those could even remotely beat Alabama Crimson Tide. You beat them. Not only that, but you play for the Texans, and you have a head coach that other than
Be careful, Chris. Be careful, Chris.
No. Hold on.
Good. You were
He
doing
may not
so
be
good.
great. He may not be great at X's and O's, but he is all about social justice, so I love him. But point being is that when you look at how the NFL sees you and you see that you're ranked the 20th best player and 7th best quarterback, and then the Madden has a nerve to rank you so low, that's fire in your belly. That's fire in your belly to want to prove everybody wrong. That's that Michael Jordan mentality when nobody sees what you see in the mirror, but you know you're something great and special. So for Deshaun Watson, this is everything. Don't be surprised this man wins the Super Bowl this year. Boom.
Ooh. Damn.
I like it.
Damn. That
Shout out
preseason,
Sean.
we don't know.
This is for us, baby.
That no preseason, we don't know who's gonna be good. They got to figure all that stuff on the fly.
Hey.
So, hey, man.
And we got the first take of it all. So, shit.
The first game of the season, September 12th. The Houston Texans go to Kansas City, so that's gonna be a good one. Like I said, we wanted to go ahead and give some shout outs. So, Chris, what you got going on, buddy?
Man, I've been doing a lot lately, a lot actually, and still got so many crazy things that I'm working on right now. And I'm just excited to share the most important thing right now is how important it is to give back to the community, how important it is to help those mentors, our youth. With Soul to Soul, we had our first virtual career day. We highlighted the healthcare field. We had therapists, recreational therapists. We had directors in a hospital setting, and then we also had a doctor on. We had over 33 people online on Zoom, but most importantly, awesome. In those chat rooms in the Zoom were actually the Boys and Girls Clubs with lots of kids watching. And the whole point is to inspire our youth to strive to be better, to do better for themselves, especially in the settings that we're in today. Really, really doing our best to just inspire these kids that they really are the future. And besides that, you can catch me on every other Thursday with Blue Cross Blue Shield in a community talk show talking about mental health. This past week we talked about anxiety and depression and everything that's been going on with COVID-19 and how it affects us. Always advocating for mental health. So yeah, man, I'm just trying to make changes and help people and mentor people and it's easy. Like I always said this, I think the first step was for us as minorities to go out there and protest and bring awareness. But the next step is actually going into your communities and doing something. And I think that's the key. We have to go out there and we have to be the voices and we have to move the needle. And that's giving back to your community. So again, we're working on actually solidifying exclusiveness with the Emancipation Park. So that will give we're looking at eventually helping out and raising money for the Emancipation Park in the Third Ward area, and then we hope to work with the Boys and Girls Club as well, and just trying to make things happen in our community. So I'm super proud of that. So,
congratulations, man! Really, really excited to see what you got coming on, bigger and better things. I just want to bring up that we're working on another podcast as well. I'm trying to do something actually in an official capacity with the Houston Rockets and their group, the Red Rowdies. I got a guy that is willing to go in and kind of sponsor us as a product of the Red Rowdies, is something like a side project. And Severe Rowdy, one of the originators, basically, or one of the coordinators, and he's a leader within the Red Rowdies. Is me and him are trying to put something together, and like I said, hopefully get something in the physical capacity. We do have a little bit of an insider, and we're looking to add to the content of what the Houston Rockets can bring and the Red Rowdies can bring, and give us another voice for the city of Houston. So look out for that, and try to do it big and bad, man. So also I wanted to give a shout out to Shots and Thoughts going into their second season, and with that being said, we wanted to honor them with a couple shots. Hold on, Chris. Let me bring this bad boy in. Mr. Jack. Hello, Jack.
That's the official sponsor for Shots and Thoughts. That's what they started
Sean,
with. Those are the original.
Ryan,
Jack
Chris,
Daniels.
This is to you, my brothers in podcast.
I got season 2, man.
Like your shot glass?
Season 2.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm trying to not to show anybody this. This says Los
like,
Angeles.
You like mine?
Oh, man, you got Boston Red Sox in a shot glass. Oh, the rivals. Chris?
Oh, my God, Khoa. That's so funny because, look, I turned mine around. This is Boston Red Sox too.
Yeah, baby.
I always put the cheaters behind
unintentional.
me.
Unintentional
Khoa.
consequences.
I always put the cheaters behind me anyway, so here we go. Hey. Man, season 2 for Shots and Thoughts. I just hope that this second season they got going on, they just don't have Asian people on their show. Shout out to that. What's up,
Cheers
Ryan?
to that. Cheers. Shots and Thoughts. Congrats, buddy.
Boom.
I'm so bad at taking shots. I don't know how they do it.
Ask Ryan. He takes the most.
I know, right? Something like 120 to the next closest was like 90.
Dude, Ryan is like is definitely white girl wasted every time he does that show. That's funny.
For sure. They've had some classic moments. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm out.
Peace.
Later.